Welcome to Road to Redline, the #1 Porsche and Car podcast celebrating the people and the stories behind the world's finest sports cars. Road to Redline is presented by YouTuber and magazine editor Lee Sibley, serial owner and columnist Joe Williams, and 993 owner Andy Brookes. Three enthusiasts on a mission to open doors and bring you the best stories, secrets, and exclusives from the world of Porsche.
So, good evening, chaps. Three of us back in the room.
Back in the room. Good day.
evening.
Good day. How are we?
Albeit virtually for a little bit, isn't it? That's the thing.
Yeah, still virtual, but we've got Lee back this week, so we're not sure where he went, but he is back.
Where were you?
Went part-time for a bit, didn't I? Went part-time. Yeah, I was out and about actually. Obviously doing essential or necessary work. I was actually working, and
weren't you playing in a Cayman?
I was, yeah. So I think
the Cayman that's not a real Porsche.
Yeah. Do I need to eat my words? I don't know. We'll find out in this episode, won't we? It's kind of timely.
Let's come back to that.
Yeah, we decided it might be quite nice to actually talk about Caymans this issue. I'm thinking it's a magazine.
Big issue.
So we have decided to talk about Caymans this episode. So it was quite a timely little loan of the 981 GT4 from Porsche GB, which was really kind of them. Really cool. They've still got that car as well as like part of their heritage.
I'm surprised it's still knocking around. I thought it'd be long gone by now.
Yeah, but it's kind of cool, isn't it? I mean, it's a real kind of line in the sand. It's a piece of Porsche history, isn't it? Because it was the 981 Cayman GT4 that kind of sparked the manual renaissance at Porsche, wasn't it?
Yeah,
I think it was.
And after the PDK 991 Gen 1 GT3s, and enthusiasts said, well, that's great, but can we have stick shift? And Porsche did listen to its customers, but it went with the Cayman first before the stick shift went back in 911. So before the GT3 Touring and before the R and all of that was that GT4 as the kind of, the rebirth of the manual transmission in a GT department car. So maybe for that reason it's still on fleet, but it was nice. It was nice to have the car for the week and really kind of delve deep into it, I suppose, and get under its skin and kind of work out what the car was all about. But I mean, and this is where I think it gets interesting. Joe, you've owned one previously, not spoken too much about it on this pod, I don't think, really. And Andy, I would love to know your thoughts there, because I think Cayman GT4 is a bit of you.
You reckon?
I do, sure. Mate, I do.
Maybe I need to get in the seat of one then.
Yeah, I think so. I think.
Why do you think it's a bit of me then? What makes you think that?
Well, I will qualify it first of all by saying that the part that getting in the seat and out the seat might be the issue for you, mate. after getting in.
That's because it was
after getting in.
Yeah, but it's like a race seat and cage. And
I think you just have to find a comfort spec one for you, Andy. That's
it'll be all right.
The 918, the 918 seat. To be, I mean, they're a work of art, aren't they? Both to look at, but also ergonomically. There's such a good hold without it being uncomfortable. It's the same with any Porsche, isn't it? With seats like that, there's a way to get in and out of them, isn't it? But I just remember your experience getting in and out of Joe's Cayman race car in the summer. But like I say, I believe a 981 with the 918 seats would be easier. But why do I think it's a bit of you, mate?
Because it was red.
Red, definitely. You can make the lights go yellow as well, because I know you get off on that. So there we go, mate. Obviously, I know it's got a wing on the back, and you don't like, as you say, the wings and tings. But it is really small. So it's not kind of really overt and outlandish and in your face as the other GT products. I think that you might get away with that. But it's a really good, nimble car with an excellent power to weight ratio, and really suited to fast road driving. And I think that's a bit of you, mate.
Okay. All right.
I look forward to hearing a bit more about this, because I think it's definitely it's a bit of a pendulum swing from your previous opinions of GT4s, isn't it?
Slightly. I think overall my and I will talk about this more in my YouTube video in a bit more detail. I think overall my sentiment is the same. But this is kind of, I think there's a difference between a GT4 and a other Caymans, as there are differences between a 911 Carrera and a GT3. I just think a GT4 is such good value for money. Good value for money.
How much is that? You know, the one that you were driving, what's the market rate for one of those at the moment then?
But one at the moment for early 60s.
You can, it's, mileage dependent and whatnot. And that's the other thing, which is definitely worth mentioning is, this was around the time, wasn't it, where the market had so much heat in it. So the Cayman GT4 really was the catalyst for that overs market to really kick off in 2015 and 2016. And we had this really weird scenario where a lot of people who perhaps weren't enthusiasts of the brand, but they were flippers, let's be honest. And a lot of people thought, right, I'm going to get a Cayman, flip it instantly. So that, do you remember at one time on Auto Trader, you couldn't move for delivery mileage GT4s in paint sample?
Yeah. Somebody did a head count, because I think I'm still part of there's a couple of online groups and stuff. And there was, I think at the peak, there was 64 or something, I think.
Wow.
It was GT4s, all with like less than 1,000 or less than 2,000 miles.
Yeah, absolute flipper spec, and again for a GT car, that's an absurd amount. If I assume you're talking just UK there, so
just
that's
UK.
Ludicrous. But that's the thing. At one stage, they were touching 100 grand. Before options, those cars new were 64k. Yeah. So you put some bits and pieces on. You're talking mid 70s, aren't you? Let's face it.
There's lots of them were up for sale well over 100k.
Yeah, and that's the thing, so and I think that's when people thought, oh, lovely, I'll get an order on that. They're a bit easier to come by in terms of getting an order than GT3. So there's a lot of money.
There was a lot of optioned cars that were coming out circa 80k. That was a consistent number when I was looking and buying. They were advertised anyway at 120 to 130.
Wow, yeah. So I mean, even now they are kind of mid 70s. Even if you bought a Cayman GT4 new, put a shed load of miles on it, had all that fun, you could still get out of one now, and you've not really lost out, have you? Do you know what I mean? So it's been 6 years of free motoring, and just looking around the rest of the market, we've spoken before about the merits of the Carrera T. Well, for the same money as a 991 Carrera T, you can get a modern GT product in the GT4. And that's a lot of car for the money. That's a hell of a lot of car for the money. I
think GT4s haven't really moved in price for the last 3 years. I mean, they've been pretty stable. I think they've slumped slightly after the 718 GT4.
Yeah,
a little bit, but yeah, not
inevitable.
Yeah, but not a huge amount.
Yeah,
which I think, like you said.
What's your story then with the GT4, Joe? Because like I say, we've touched on it before on the pod, but not in any great detail.
Yeah, so I came out of a 991 GTS Gen 1 car, which I probably only had that car for about a year. Really enjoyed it. Didn't realise how good it was, so I got rid of it. Just one of those that you just don't know what you don't know. Always wanted a GT4, and then the opportunity came up to buy the one I bought, which was Mexico Blue. So there was only two, I was told at the time, in Mexico, in the UK. And it just, you can imagine, it was, an amazing looking car. It was the right spec. It was club sport. It had the, right buckets and all the bits in the right places. And I just jumped at it, which was in hindsight, I don't know, would I do it again? I think I'd always want to own one at some point. I think when I bought the one I had, I probably should have kept the GTS for a bit longer, to be honest. But
so how easy was it to get the GT4 then, Joe? Because was this right before, you're a clever guy. You wouldn't have, paid huge money for those when they were, had a lot of heat in them.
Yeah, I mean, I did pay over for it. I think I paid about $5 or $6 grand over for it.
Yeah.
From memory. But that said, when I came to sell it, I got my money back. A year later.
Yeah.
Year, 18 months, probably 18 months even. So probably a year or 18 months later, I got my money back, which is pretty unheard of in anything. So, and I was happy with that. Yeah, I think in the time I'd owned it, the flipper thing had gone, to the moon and back, and it sort of softened off a bit. So by the time I was getting rid of mine, it was, I was quite happy to get out of it. I wasn't looking to make money out of it. I was just happy to get out of it without it costing me anything, which was, a result. So so that's kind of what I did. I mean, I bought it to use it every day as a daily, and I think they are over time it became hard. Yeah, it's just hard work as a daily. I think
It's not a one. It's not. Yeah, if you're going to own one Porsche, a GT4 is not the answer.
Yeah, I think unless if you, I mean, yeah, there's guys that run around in Lotus Exeges and all sorts as daily drivers, and I think, okay, fair play. If you're that extreme end of it, then fine. But as an all rounder, it doesn't quite fit. I mean, yeah, the annoying things that do your head in quite quickly. Obviously, the Club Sport rear roll cage bar is exactly in line with the rear view mirror, that also lines up with the wing at the back. So if you try to reverse it anywhere, you can see not a lot. Obviously, that age and spec GT car, there's no parking sensors, there's no reversing cameras, there's no aids like that. So if you're trying to park it in a space in town somewhere, you're kind of left to your own devices, which became a bit wearing when you're used to getting in another 911 where you just, those sorts of things are just there ready to use.
Yeah.
So I think that's one thing. I think the seats, I mean, like you said, those 918 buckets are an amazing seat, but if you're getting in and out of them all day, every day, non-stop, they are a deep bucket seat. So you're kind of falling in and out of it, which again starts to wear on you after a bit. And there was quite a bit of reporting of wear on the bolsters on those seats on ones that have been used a lot. I think that's quite common. So those were the niggles, I suppose. Lots of people complain about the second gear being too long, isn't it? I think that's
second for sure, but even third, really.
So that's, I mean, lots of people complain about that. I think, I mean, there's fixes now, isn't there? There's lots of options to mess with if you need to. But again, we're talking about stuff with, if people are tracking the car and trying to get every last bit out of it. I personally don't think most people that have bought them or drive them would actually be able to notice that much difference in the gearing. I think, they can work with what's there. Do you think that's fair?
I do. I don't think the gearing issue is as problematic as what people have been making out. The Sharkworks the Sharkworks boys did a GT4 of their own, didn't they? Or modified a GT4 to their taste. They shortened the ratios second through fifth, I think it was. I drove that car, that along with a few other bits and pieces they did, uprated limited slip diff. That car is absolutely unbelievable. Unbelievable. And you just think, wow, if only they made, if only Porsche made this out of the block, that would be absolutely insane. But the other thing, and it's kind of funny jumping in with the criticisms of the car. There's lots of good stuff of the car, which we'll talk about shortly. But the big thing for me is where the chassis was so good, it really highlighted the engine and how kind of lethargic it was. As a first observation, so this is kind of a day or two into the car, ultimately it's a Carrera S engine, not a proper GT department engine. But actually it's detuned as well, because the Carrera S engine had 400 horsepower, that had 380.
It doesn't I mean, it sounds like we're doing the car down on everything, but it's not. I think we're just starting there and we're going good stuff. But I think the engine doesn't sing like a GT engine. No,
definitely not.
You don't get that same speed when it revs. You don't get the same pickup. You don't get the same response. I get all that. So I think it takes a little while to learn how to drive it with the car.
Definitely. And that's the thing. And like what that does lead to, and this is kind of where the Cayman starts to make a great deal of sense, is in order to get the best of that car, because again, it's quite flat lower down the rev range, but past 4K, and actually throttle response isn't amazing, but get it past 4,000 RPM and it's just it's like a different beast. The throttle response better, and so what it teaches you to do is to just live in the top half of that rev range, drive the car hard, really grab it by the scruff of the neck, and then that car really comes alive.
Doesn't that highlight the gearing problem though? So
definitely
because you can't utilize it on a sort of daily basis. You can't utilize it.
Definitely. And this is so last Tuesday evening when you guys were doing the excellent Mike Wilde's interview, I was traveling back from Essex. It's about 3 hours from here, isn't it? And I have to say, I got in and my ears were ringing because again, whereas the 911, we all moan not so much about the concept of 7 gears in the later cars, because that totally makes sense with the overdrive gear. It's the execution of it that we moan about. But like with 6 gears and the gears how they are, if you're sitting on the motorway at 75, 70, It's over 3,000 RPM. It's knocking on 3,500 RPM in a GT car.
I thought the gearing was really long on the Cayman.
Yeah, it is. But so this is what I'm saying. Like, but then the other side of it is where we're talking about it, not being an all rounder and a car to use, daily, like Joe was saying. My ears were ringing. Like, when I got in, honestly, I can't tell. I just had an engine just farting in my ears all day, basically.
Yeah.
And again, and this is why it does kind of come back to what I've kind of said before. I couldn't jump in that car and drive around Europe. It would do my nut in.
I think they do resonate. I think there is a thing with them because we did a fairly long Welsh trip, didn't we? For a few days, and the last afternoon, whatever, when we were heading back, I remember, Chuck jumped in mine, I jumped in his, and after 2 hours in the car, he got out and went, bloody hell, you can have that back, because he said the same thing. His ears were ringing, and it's. I agree. Yeah, it's not. The thing is, what is a GT4? I mean, ultimately, it's a track toy that's been put on the road. Is I think when they've sketched it up, that's what they've kind of gone for. They've not gone for a long GT car. Yeah,
I don't even think that. I think a GT4 is a fast B-road car, like a Sunday. A Sunday car. So, you poodle around in something else in the week when you're prattling about. But then, like when we go out on a Sunday morning for a fast drive down to West Bay, have a coffee and then come back on some lovely twisties and blah, blah, blah. That car is unbeatable. Absolutely unbeatable. But for I definitely wouldn't go around Europe in one. I know there are listeners that will resolutely disagree with that, and that's fine. It all comes down to, what you deem acceptable and what you're happy to kind of put up with. I personally wouldn't do it. Yeah, I couldn't do it daily. For the reasons you said, Joe. I
think at some point you almost need to have a go on a track in one, because I think that is another place where they do come into their own. And I think if you're on the track, you can be a very average driver, and you can, that car will do things that other cars can't. And
that's the beauty of the Cayman, full stop, I think, isn't it? It's so wonderfully balanced. It's near 50-50 weight distribution. And we've even done it in your race cars. We've said on this podcast many a time, Joe, like the beauty of just wringing the neck out of a Cayman. And especially like on a track, it's absolutely awesome. The thing as well with the GT4, I thought in terms of suspension and damping, nowhere near as stiff as even a 991 or 992 outside of the GT department. Really nicely sprung, perfect for the road, but I wonder if that will translate to being a little bit too soft for the track. I know what you're saying. I only tracked mine 3 times, I think. It didn't spend huge amounts of time, but out the box it worked very, very well. I mean, that was very early days of track for me. So probably not the best comparison. I'd love to have another go in one now, and then run that side by side with our other little Cayman or something, just for to get the idea of how good or bad it actually is. Yeah. But I mean, like I say, we have kind of done it the wrong way around, because we've obviously spoken about the foibles of the GT4, and that's kind of what they are, isn't it?
They sound shit to me. What's good?
But this thing that we've done it a total disservice at this point, because that car honestly is absolutely phenomenal. And again, when it just comes down to like a value for money, if you want a car that's seriously going to put some smiles on your face on the right roads, I mean, we're talking about a modern GT department car here for the price of a Carrera T. That is ludicrous. It's absolutely ludicrous. And again, I've spoken to a few people, 996 owners. That's the beauty of a 996 or a Gen 1 997, is they're really good value for money. It's a lot of Porsche for the money, isn't it? And from that moment, when you're done with those cars, where do you go from there? I don't think a 997 Gen 2 is the answer, because for the kick on in price, etc., it's not too dissimilar. But then you start going, well, actually, a GT4 would make a hell of a lot of sense, because again, it's just incredible value for money. And I think will hold really well in terms of prices. Not that you buy a car, it's not an investment, but just in terms of it's not gonna bomb in value, is it?
I mean, the cars that are losing money month on month, and I think that's a car that
it's not going to happen, is it? At all.
You could keep that for a few years, and it's still going to be worth a good a good chunk of what you paid for it.
Yeah. And, just inside really well appointed, isn't it? That whole 991, 981 era, it's just the cars are so well made inside. It's a nice kind of lavish place to be. The noise in terms of the soundtrack, we spoke about that era again before, is brilliant. The GT4, as we said earlier, it doesn't sound like a GT car, but it's not a bad sound at all.
I mean, it's a good sounding car, isn't it?
Yeah, definitely. And just like I say, a car that you can jump into on a Sunday, grab the bull by its horns and have a load of fun. I just think it's right up there. I really do think it's right up there.
I still think it's a good eyeful of car as well. GT cars like to, they've always made quite a statement when you see them on the road, and I think it still fits in that category. I don't think it's just a Cayman with a wing on it. I think all the extra bits and pieces that have gone into it do make it. It's got the GT look. Would you agree?
Yeah, I think I wasn't going to say this, to be fair, and I know there'll be people absolutely kind of screaming at the headphones or speakers now, but this is purely, you have to understand with me and it like my career and whatnot. I've looked at everything from a 911 perspective. So like a Cayman is a very different proposition, and I in some angles I think that GT4 is just a beautiful thing to die for. And actually what's really impressive about it is it's such a modern car, but its footprint is of a 15-20 year old 911, isn't it? A 997 spec footprint and presence on the road. Really dainty little thing, lovely. But there are elements of that car I think are really fussy, and it's almost like they're deliberately fussy so that it's like it doesn't encroach on the 911 at all. The lights aren't the rounded headlights that Porsche stylistically is known for. Mm-hmm. The rear haunches, whilst they are flowing, they're not as smooth as a 911s. They're a little bit more fussy. I think in some angles a little bit too fussy. And again, the wing at the wrong angle, I think the wing looks like a Halford stick-on job.
Oh, okay.
Whereas at the right angle, I think the car is absolutely stunning, and I think that wing is stunning and adds presence. So, yeah, I don't know. But again, that's just kind of my personal thing, and I fully appreciate others are not going to agree with that at all.
So what do you think then? Sum of parts that you sort of had lots of negatives, but when it all comes together, it's a lot better than the sum of parts.
Yeah, definitely. So like my own sort of synopsis on it, Andy, is as a Sunday B-road blast, absolutely up there, one of the best with them. And the other thing I would say, and again, I know kind of there is the thing of the gearing issue, particularly for track use. But I think so talk about the engine, where we're saying it's detuned and whatnot.
Yeah.
It's a detuned 991 Carrera S engine. I don't think that's a bad thing. And again, where you have to really rev that car hard, I think you can have a lot of fun with that car on the road without getting into a lot of trouble in terms of pace. And, any 911, we've spoken about the merits of the 992 Carrera before, for example, being all the 911 you need, all the modern 911 you need. It's still bloody fast and definitely borderline too fast for the public road. Yeah. The Cayman is a very, very fast car, but I felt like I could have a lot of fun in that without constantly having to worry about what I was up to in relation to everything else.
Yeah.
And I think there's a lot going for cars like that, and I think that's where the Cayman again will win big. Chassis again, absolutely brilliant, and just like the weight of the steering, bearing in mind that's an early electrically assisted GT car, it's not far off perfect, and like the weight of the shift, the directness of it, everything, all of that is just absolutely on point. And as somebody that wants just a brilliant sports car,
I think the driver's position, and I remember, the shifter is like clockwork, isn't it? And I think that is something that's quite nice. It is that real clicky GT box, isn't it? And I think you can't get that in a Carrera.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, again, this I've ummed and ahed about this point, and it might just be me overthinking it, but I swear, even though it's the same seat and whatnot, I swear in a Cayman you sit a smidge higher than you do in a 991, a smidge. Because to me, the 991 was the first time Porsche had really perfected the seating position in the 911. It's properly on the floor, and they've brought that forward for the 992, even the Carrera range. Whereas the GT4, I felt I wasn't properly on the floor.
Well, they do. I think that was a common issue for a few people, because there is a company that make a little angle kit for the runners on a GT4.
Oh, okay, yeah.
And it just puts a slight bit of extra rake in the bucket seat.
Yeah,
and I know people, particularly if they're taller, then they struggle to fit in GT4s, and certainly driver position. Some people did struggle a little bit. So I can't remember what it does, but just with a little bit of backwards rake on the seat that is meant to, again, just give you that, which would essentially push you down towards the floor. So I think these are all little things that come out over time that there's always little fixes for. But I think out the box, it's those things are there. I think they're only noticeable by people that are looking for those intricate details, though. I think if someone just jumped in one and went for a drive, I think they'd be pretty blown away by the GT4 out the box.
Definitely. And that, I think, is the big thing. If somebody hasn't driven a 911 before, and like a GT4 is their first experience with a Porsche, your socks will be knocked off. You really will. And I think that's the thing with a Cayman, is it will always be, rightly or wrongly, judged against the 911. Which, to its credit, to be fair. But like you say, those foibles that people have pointed out and you've found as an owner, you jumped out of a 911 into that Cayman. So it's kind of, it's a difficult one for that car, isn't it? But I mean,
what you can't take away from it is I think it is an exciting car.
Definitely.
Yeah, I think that's the one thing it's got going for it. Is, like you said, it's the words you've used yourself. It's small, it's fun, it's exciting. It does make a good noise. These are all things you want in a sports car, isn't it?
Yeah, and the other thing I'd say as well is, like, obviously you do drive it differently to a 911, and we touched on the dynamics of that in Series 1, didn't we, with Rob Colborne? But I think a 911 I just find more rewarding. Again, that's completely subjective. Others might disagree. But what I would say is a Cayman isn't necessarily easy to drive. And whether it's a 911, you can bury your foot on corner exit and you've got so much traction, haven't you? Because of where the engine is. With a Cayman, and especially obviously because of the wheelbase being quite short, when that car does snap,
it's gone.
It happens quickly, and you have to be aware of that, because if you're not on it, you're not catching it. It's as simple as that.
I think a lot of people came unstuck with that as well, and that was quite a common thing. I remember, things like there was I don't know if it was actually true, but I was certainly told anyway that there was a countrywide policy of no test drives in GT4s at OPC centres.
Really?
Which I found completely barking mad. But so I essentially had to buy the car blind, which seems mad now. I probably wouldn't stand for it again. But that was a thing, because and I think there was a few stories of techs that had taken them out and got it wrong, and where they'd probably been used to being in 911s, I'm guessing, lit it up. I mean, it obviously comes on different tires and that sort of stuff, and maybe they'd gone out in the cold or the wet or whatever. But there was lots of that sort of stuff and lots of stories flying around where people have got it wrong with GT4s.
Really? Yeah, that is interesting. Yeah, that's really interesting. Yeah. Okay. Or was there no test drives because they just didn't want people going, but it's not a this or it's not that, is it? GT3. Yeah. And especially, the first one out the block. But, the flip side of that is how amazing that there were quite literally hundreds of people that bought a brand new car, first of its kind from Porsche, without ever having a flavour of it,
I think still that, if you want to get into a GT car, there isn't another entry point anywhere near that sort of price range.
No,
there's literally nothing. You can't buy a GT anything for 60 something grand.
Not a modern one, with and that's the key, isn't it? Because you could, for that Simps, look at a 996 GT3 or early 997 GT3, but nothing modern.
No. And those, and I think even then, you can be in a relatively low mileage modern car as opposed to a much older, higher mile car, isn't it? You're not going to a nice example 996 GT3 is probably knocking on 50-60 grand still, isn't it? And it's just a different car, really, isn't it? Different beast. But look, we said, loosely speaking, this is just from the driver's car angle, because otherwise they are very different. But if a Carrera T and a 981 GT4 are the same money, what do you go for?
Carrera T, please.
You would go, wow, you're straight in there, Andy. Straight in there. So what's your sentiment then with the GT4?
Don't like the wings and tings. Sorry, mate. That's it.
And that's it, really. Wings and tings and no bid.
It's just all a bit too race for me. I prefer more of a road car.
Right. Okay. Yeah. So Carrera T all day long. Yeah. Interesting. Joe, what about you?
You want one of each, really. I know it's a cop-out answer.
You're not allowed. You love sitting on the fence on these. I've noticed that. Yeah. Come on. Upset someone, Joe. Come on.
If I had to buy one of those two cars tomorrow, I'd actually buy the Carrera T.
Yeah.
But that's having
no buts.
owned and enjoyed a GT4. Would I have another GT4? Yes, I would. No question about that. But I think if I had to buy one of those two cars tomorrow, it would be a T, purely for the everyday aspect. I would. Yeah, I think I've said before. I don't spend lots of money on cars to have them sit in the garage and come out on a Sunday afternoon. I think they're there. You want to be able to use them, and I think a Carrera T is just a more usable thing. I think you'll have more fun potentially in a GT4, but I think overall a lot more usable. Like you said, you could go on a Euro trip in a Carrera T. You can take it. You could do a track day if you wanted to. You can do your Sunday morning drives. You can do everything in between. You can go shopping in it and park it in town. It's none of those things are going to be difficult or awkward. As in a GT4, all of those things would have a bit of a niggle, wouldn't they? Yeah, they would.
Yeah.
So, but I think, which one's going to turn more heads? The GT4. Which one's going to sound better going down the road past you? The GT4. Which one you have more fun with on track? GT4. Sunday morning drives. You want to be in the GT4 if you could. So I think there's, that car's got so much going for it.
I think that's where the 911 just generally wins, isn't it? Because there might be other cars that can do one or two things better, but just as an absolute all-rounder, something that could feasibly and genuinely tick every kind of box. I just think that the 911's got it covered, and that's the thing. For those reasons, I would absolutely pick a T out of the two. Something you could use in the week, no problem, but a car that I think you could still get excited about for the Sunday drive, even if you did commute in it Monday to Friday.
If we were going to put a spin on that, if you took away the GT4 bit and we're just reversing back to Caymans, where'd you sit then? Because that's quite difficult. I mean, I know people that have got Cayman GTSs and that sort of thing, and they drive them as dailies. They've got all those mod cons that are missing on the GT4. They tick all the same boxes. They've got more boot space than a 911. Then it's, if you don't need the extra seats in the back, then that's another question, isn't it?
Well, the thing is with that, I would look at the Cayman. Therefore, I would look at the Boxster, because I would go, well, for all of that, I'd love the idea of being able to put the roof down as well. So no problem whatsoever. And again, the Boxster, fantastic car. I just I wouldn't get the 4-banger 718. I'd go for the 6-pot.
Yeah.
But that's totally doable. What do you boys think?
I agree. I think on the 718 thing, I probably, purely if the price is right, I wouldn't be against having a 4-banger. I think they're actually, everyone moans and complains about them, but I've driven both, the non-S and S version, and I think, Christ, they pick up and they go, and I think they drive really well, and I think they still drive like a Porsche. I don't think they've ruined it, but they've just got so much stigma attached to them. They are the one that no one wants. Drives
like a Porsche, sounds like a Volkswagen.
Yeah.
I'm going to mention a 912 here, Joe, because this just sounds like your 912, mate, doesn't it? It's a modern version, so you're used to it.
I think it's a load of old rubbish where people go on about the sound. I think the sound is not. I reckon if you did a blindfolded sound test with 100 Porsche owners, I'm not convinced that you would get that many get that right.
Are you being sick? Really?
Yeah.
I don't know. I think if you blindfolded someone and put me in, I think they'd say, bloody hell, this Volkswagen don't half turn around the corner, did it? Do you know what I mean? I think
maybe if half of them are deaf.
Yeah.
I just think it's one of those things that people just latch onto as being, a reason why not to like it or a reason to complain about it. I think if you actually go and listen to one of those engines and you go and drive one, I don't think it's a bad sound at all.
Really? Wow. Yeah. No. So I can't agree with that. But that's good. No way. Laura and I, we had a 718 just for the day around. Where were we? Isle of Skye. Actually, Everything was absolutely fantastic, apart from the noise, which was enough to annoy me that kind of
Sour,
much. Yeah, and it just soured the whole thing, because you're like, this, it does, it drives so well, it corners sublimely, I mean, that 718 is just such a polished thing now, isn't it? But the noise just takes away absolutely everything about it. And I think especially in like
takes
the Boxster,
away the soul.
Yeah, it does, and the Boxster fresh air motor, and you put the roof down, so that's all you hear is just like you're just hearing your bad decision, basically. And I would say, Porsche know that, really, because it's, they're not scared to relent, are they? As we spoke about at the top of the episode with the manual tranny, but yeah, it's the same with the 6-pot engine in the 718.
Yeah.
They've gone back.
They had massive backlash with it, didn't they? I'd be really interested for you to do that exercise again and just see whether, because you've had a lot of preconceptions of Caymans / Boxsters for a long time, and come on, and not I won't get almost anti, almost I think there's something in there, and it'd be interesting whether some of that might have overclouded it a bit. And if if someone just went, right, just take this car as a first time, you've never driven a 911 type view, because if you compare everything to a 911, you're always, I mean, that's always a higher benchmark. It's produced that way, isn't it?
Yeah.
So I think you've got to, I think, if you judge the Cayman on its own merit, even, with a different noise, I still don't think it's a bad car.
And, and the Cayman and the Boxster, they, as I've always say, they are fantastic sports cars, and they are just unbelievable value for money. To me, like a Cayman 981 GTS, sweet spot, really is a sweet spot. The 718 chassis wise, dynamically, is a kick on from the 981 without a doubt, but as I said, the noise kills everything, and to me, sports car noise is so important. It's so important, and if you ruin it, to me, you've ruined so much of what that car and that experience should be all about.
Agreed.
I think there is the unsung hero that everybody overlooks, which is the Spider.
Agreed. To be fair, yeah.
I mean, there's it was. I think they made less of them than GT4s. They just nobody seems to. They just fly under the radar. And I think actually you've got GT4 chassis, GT4 engine, GT4, all the bits and bobs that you want at your GT4, less the roof. I think that is a really, really cool road car.
Yeah, agreed. Something I thought about with the Cayman, and where it was the 981, and it was so well sprung for the road, and I thought, well, is it going to be, therefore a bit too soft for the track? But then that's led me to that, and thinking, well, actually, how good must that Boxster Spider be, where you've got that set up in something that ultimately, it's kind of mini speedster, isn't it? Really?
Yeah, definitely.
So
I've definitely, I keep looking at those, thinking actually that could be a really nice thing to own. I think so.
Cool. When just as another observation, where you're talking about in the comparison to the 911 and potential stigma, which personally is not evident. I want to make that very clear.
I don't believe you, but that's fine.
People with pitchforks outside my house, but again, had the car for a week. Every time I'd seen another 911 or Porsche or whatever, I'll put my hand up because I'm a sad act and kind of do that. Be like the bus drivers in the morning. There's Keith. It's on the 70. But I'd stick my hand up, whatever. And I got chinned off every single time. And it did make me think, wow, this is really evident, isn't it? There's like this weird, because to me, anyone can pull me up on this because they won't be able to. If someone's stuck a hand or a thumb up to me, I'll definitely wave back. No problem. All right, mate, we probably go to the same Cars and Coffee or the same car shows, might read the same magazines, blah blah blah. We're just enthusiasts. We're just in different cars, sorts of thing.
So I think what is genuinely in existence is there is an us and them culture when it comes 911 to Cayman, and I think if you can bridge the gap, which I like to think I do, then great. But I think if you're in one camp or the other, it can be a real lonely place.
Social chameleon, Joe, are you? Yeah.
Also, I've been flying the flag for the Cayman, and having to push it on, because obviously, you're non-stop Cayman bashing. So
No chances. I'm not at all. Honestly, not in the slightest. Not in the slightest.
Continuous it is, Lee. Continuous.
No, but
I'm going to make
it
this
was
stick.
Yeah, it's terrible. That absolutely terrible. But it definitely. I'd noticed it was a thing, and there's definitely no need for that. And again, as we've said before as well, people that if you say to someone, oh, what car do you own? If they say, oh, I've got a Porsche. Oh, what one's that? Well, it's the Cayman or it's the Boxster, and then people clarify why it's not a 911. There's definitely no need to do that.
Ask any
phenomenal cars in their own right.
Ask any GT4 owner what Porsche they drive, and I guarantee they won't say Cayman. They will say a GT4.
Is that from experience, Joe? Is it?
No, of course not.
It's a example.
It's a genuine thing. I'd actually noticed. It's like people won't. If someone's got a GT4, it's like, what is it? Oh, it's a GT4. It's never a Cayman. It's never a Cayman GT4. It's a GT4. It's like there's a weird, they don't want to be tarred with the same brush as the Cayman.
Yeah. Andy, I want to drag you into this chaos, because if I'm going down, you're going down with me, mate. So what's your opinion generally, I suppose, on the Cayman? And I know you've said like no to the GT4, but where do you sit with that whole kind of Cayman question or mid-engine question?
It just doesn't appeal to me, to be honest.
Why is that?
Just a bit too small. Even though, you were saying that, you thought it was a bit of me because it is small. I think the cabin is too small for, I just feel a bit claustrophobic in it.
I reckon it's Andy that didn't wave back at you.
It was, yeah.
Not really a mid-engine sports car person. Either front engine or rear engine. So, it just doesn't appeal to me. I've thought about it in the past as, should I get one rather than a 911 because of sort of budgetary conditions and stuff like that, but decided I'd always be regretting it that I should have bought a 911. So I think there's quite a few people that feel that way. Yeah. And there it is. Yeah.
So basically at the top of the episode, when I said, Andy, you're going to love this car, and I lifted off all these reasons why, I love how you've sat there for 40 minutes just thinking, he's so wrong.
Yeah. He knows nothing.
Yeah, he knows nothing about me and my life. Yeah. Quality.
Yeah. Sorry, mate.
Maybe it is you sticking your finger up to him all the time. Yeah.
Actually, maybe
it's interesting, isn't it? To be honest with you as well, because I think like it's such a good question to ask and good topic to delve into. We've obviously given it our best shot this evening, which has been good fun, but genuinely would really like to hear from listeners on their views. Owners or people that have dabble with the car or people that just wouldn't consider for whatever reason. It'd be really, really nice if you could get in contact with us, and we'll maybe do a bit of a follow-up on this in a episode or a couple of episodes time, and just kind of gauge people's feedback and see what people are thinking about the car, because it's definitely a conundrum. What I can guarantee is people after this episode, I'm sure, will be having a look at the market and seeing, are they really the same price as a Carrera T, and I think it is a bit of an eye-opener.
Yeah.
I think you just got to get behind the wheel and go and find someone that let you test drive one and go and have a go. If you're in the market at that sort of level, I think definitely don't discount it because of the stigma. Don't listen to Lee.
don't listen to Lee, but please watch his YouTube videos.
It'd be interesting to see what you say about it. Actually, I'm
going to watch the video.
Up and coming video.
Yeah. Well, there's no point now, is there? But
we might change your opinion. You just
obviously we'll have to watch the video to get the full rundown. But ultimately, was it a thumbs up or a thumbs down? Are you still, would you ever consider a GT4?
I think I would. Yeah, I think I would consider a GT4. Again, just coming down to the value for money, the bang for your buck thing. But again, the caveat to that is, which, to be fair, blows the value for money thing firmly out of the park, is it couldn't be the only Porsche I had. It would. I'd probably have to have. I've got a thing for 911 cabs because I'm a weirdo. But something like that as a daily smoker, and then something like that to jump in for the weekend as just a B-road blast. Absolutely, I think so.
I think I know where this all stemmed from. So when I very, very first got my GT4, you might remember, I think you very briefly borrowed it for half an hour.
You over-revved it for half an hour, you mean? Yeah. I'm only joking.
And did you spin it, Lee? Did you spin it?
What, sorry?
Did you spin it?
Not knowingly. No. Not while Joe's here anyway. But no.
I remember I hadn't had it long, and I was quite proud of my new car. And I remember Lee bringing it back, sort of tossing me the key back, and kind of, I thought, yeah, quite excited. Oh, what do you think? Did you like it? Yeah. And you sort of went, well, it's just a Cayman, isn't it?
Oh, really? Oh, no way. Yeah.
And literally, it was like, it literally cut all my hopes and dreams in one go. And,
what was your reply? It's not a Cayman, it's a GT4. Yeah.
But no, I'm glad to hear that, there's a little bit of movement on that, and a Cayman might one day make it into your garage.
Yeah, very exactly. Pigs have flown; they're flying high above Paul right now. So, yeah, boys, can I change the subject slightly and propose we talk about auctions?
What sort of auctions?
Particular variety?
Car auctions, of course. Yeah. Don't know what you do in your spare time, Joe, but yeah, nothing dodgy or whiffy, that's for sure. But yeah, car auctions, because obviously I would say at the moment they're almost in vogue. It's really weird, and a lot of people are dropping serious cash for a car they've never seen before. There's no warranty. They're not prepped whatsoever, and they've not test drove or anything. And
it's interesting, isn't it?
It blows my mind.
Are you thinking
absolutely blows my mind.
Collecting cars-esque type auctions? Is that what you're thinking of?
I mean, that is absolutely kind of up there, isn't it? Do you know? I mean,
because there's a few of them popping up doing the same sort of thing, and
yeah.
I think all those things you just mentioned, I think people think they're getting all of those from those companies. I really believe that. I don't think people realise what it means to buy at auction. I think most people have got very lucky. I think they vetted the cars well enough to get them through. But yeah, I think there must be some horror stories out there that must happen, and we just don't hear about them. But yeah, it is sparking mad, because like you said, you're buying them blind, and if you read the terms and conditions of those auction websites, it's no different to eBay. You've probably got more recourse with eBay than you have with some of those sites.
Well, exactly that. Where and to be honest, I think to the guys that did collecting cars, Mr. Lovett and Mr. Harris and whatnot, absolutely fair play from a business point of view, because it's sort of kind of money for old rope in a way. There's not a great deal of not that I can see anyway. I might be completely wrong, and that's fine. I'm happy for those guys or anyone else to tell me otherwise. But there's no kind of great liability there. It's all kind of with the seller, but there's just there's so much risk. That's what I can't get my head around. From a buyer's point of view, there is so much risk there.
Though it's quite interesting, isn't it? Because you've got I don't know, 250 detailed photos. So somebody's crawled underneath the car and taken a picture of the inner wheel arch. Would you do that if you were to go and see a car and get all excited and look at it and go, yeah, this is the car I want, and forget to do all that stuff? I've heard plenty of stories of that. And also it's not just you looking at the car, it's 1,000 enthusiasts are looking at the car and commenting on the car. And sort of reviewing it.
I think that builds some of the hysteria there. I think where people start commenting on it, and that's almost, I think people might read through the comments thinking, oh gosh, I've got to bid on this, and this is worth more than every other one going, because everybody seems to be getting excited. I think they curate the adverts and the presentation very, very well, and I think that's the implied value. That's my opinion of it. It's everything's implied value and implied provenance or heritage, whatever you want to call it, as opposed to actually warranted or backed up. It's kind of it's all there. It doesn't, I don't know how to explain it. It doesn't feel very concrete, like you said. It looks on the face of it, it looks like you're buying an amazing car, but no one's willing to put their name to it. That's exactly
it. And I mean, again, it's kind of where the comments, Andy, to me, that's trial by forum. And I don't hold any credence whatsoever to a single forum, because there's so much gas on there. What if someone's going to give me a proper appraisal of a car, I want a specialist, you know. And I think cars that are for sale at specialists, and I'm talking about renowned specialists, not these kind of pop-up ones. They've been around for 15, 20 years. The whole reason that car is on their forecourt or in their showroom to begin with is because they're very happy and proud to put their name to it. They might have sold the car 3 or 4 times beforehand. And again, you know, the car's prepped. I mean, you know, yeah, there's a lovely photo of an inner wheel arch, well, quality, but what's the IMS bearing saying, for example? And I like I say, where it's all in vogue and it's kind of cool to buy it, and that's fine. Like I say, if that's what people want to do. But to me, I just think, is everyone missing the point here in a really big way? It's not a brand new car where you know what you're buying. It's a 15, 20-year-old, sometimes more car.
I think what's clever though with it, isn't it, is it's brought a load of enthusiasts together in one place, and suddenly, you find yourself looking at a car that you might not have even been in the market for just because it's there. And I think that's what it has done, is it's created this hub, a place to go. And some could argue that's eBay, but there's so much on there and it's not presented particularly well. And also there is a leveling factor with auctions, isn't there? If you put something in an auction, theoretically, it's going to go for market value. What someone's willing to pay for it. I think in this case, if you put lots of enthusiasts together and you get them excited and then you present them something that looks very pretty, that excitement level goes up and the perceived value goes up, and then people end up paying, they're willing to pay more for that.
I suppose as well, like the go on, Andy.
Sorry, there's there's a number of cars that have gone for more money than they've been advertised for. So I think that was that particular, the Singer, the white one with the blue, which was not really to my taste. I don't know about you guys, but it's sort of,
I thought it was quite a bland version of what they normally do, isn't it?
And I think that had been for sale for a while. It started with a 6 and didn't go much below, much more than half a 6.5, 100,000, but it sold for an awful lot more than that on Collecting Cars, which was quite amazing, really.
Yeah, massively so. And again, I think a positive of the platform and similar ones to it is it takes away, like on eBay, when you get the inevitable correspondence from Herbert's, asking, would you swap for an MG ZT or something, and I suppose that kind of does take it all away. But again, it is at the same time, it's a different sort of thing. And historically, to be quite honest with you, cars tend to end up in auction. Like specialists will put cars through auction, and they put it into an auction because it won't sell. They might not want to put their name to it, so they'll just get rid of it. And so it's kind of, and that's it. And that's kind of been the role before, where it's just like, well, it's an auction. You see what you buy what you see, whatever it is, and that's kind of it. Whereas now it's almost like glamorized buying through auction or something.
I think certain sort of the more sort of clearance style auction houses, I would imagine people are still shying away from. I'd be really interested to know whether they've had an uplift because of sites like Collecting Cars. There's a good chance they might have done. People might have started on Collecting Cars and gone, I'll see what other auctions are going. But like you said, it's in the presentation, isn't it? If those specialists took their entire stock list and decided to auction all of them with the right pictures and presentation, they would all be good cars, wouldn't they? And theoretically, people would pay the right money for them. I think you do pay a premium when it's on a specialist forecourt for all those extra things, and I think that's why maybe the Collecting Cars thing is just different, isn't it? I think it sits in between, and people. But I still think people are buying cars for large amounts of money, assuming that they've got some comeback with the auction house. I do think that is the case,
of which there is none.
Yeah, of which there is none, and they don't hide the fact, but they also don't. There's no bells and whistles or big signs saying you are buying this car at your own risk, and if you pick it up and it is missing, the internals of its engine, well, that's your problem.
It's basically buying it as a private. It's like an introduction, isn't it?
Yeah, it's buyer beware, isn't it? I mean, there's whatever the old saying is for that. That stands. It's normal auction terms, and I think that is what you've got to be aware of. You can easily, if you buy a lemon, well, that's it. You've bought it, whether you like it or not. And also, the way the system's set up, there's no financial risk to the person selling. There's no charges to the seller. It's all loaded onto the buyer.
You have
to lodge X amount of money on your credit card when you want to bid. So yeah, the auction fees, the fee is the bit that comes off first. The auction house gets paid first, and whatever's left, the deposit goes to the person selling the car, and then you have to pay the balance. So yeah, even if there is a disagreement, the auction house gets paid. Yeah, the owner would get something under the terms, even if they then got to start the process again and whatever else, and someone cuts their losses. I think there is definitely. You've got to be a little bit daft to spend a considerable amount of money without going to view the car or having the car professionally checked. But I think most of these cars aren't being checked. I think.
And this is it. But again, the flip side of that is the way we buy cars changing. Even in the last week or last 2 weeks, Volvo announced that in the future, apart from going fully electric with all of their vehicles, their showrooms are not going to bother with them and stuff. And is it a bit like an iPhone or something? I
think newer cars definitely. I think when it comes to older cars, I think that you're never going to be able to do. I don't think you're going to be able to do that. I know in a lockdown world, people have been buying cars and having them delivered, and that's the first time they see them. So people have got used to that. I think with brand new cars, it's very different.
I believe a lot of cars have gone back because you sold it at distance selling. You can drive it around for a week and then you can send it back because you don't like it. Yeah, I believe a lot of cars have. Dealers have had a lot of cars that have been up for sale. They've sold and they come back because the person that bought it didn't like it, and that's happened a number of times. And each time, that's another owner on the logbook.
Oh wow! Okay, yeah,
that's an interesting one. Yeah, I can believe that because it is very different. Yeah, the rules of distance selling are very different to in person. So yeah, that's an interesting one.
Yeah.
I'd say another way. Talking about new cars. Obviously, I'm changing the subject slightly, but my little Toyota GR Yaris thing, is on the water for delivery. I've still yet to sit in one or drive one, and so that comes under the same sort of rules. If it turns up and you don't like it, well, you can say sorry, it's not for me. So yeah, there will be a wash of those. But yeah, going back to the auction thing, I just think it's that. I think people think they are buying something better than they actually are. But yeah, will it continue? I think as soon as you get some horror stories coming out, I think people might be a bit more wary.
Interesting one, isn't it? Like I say, there are definitely, there are positives to it. And competition is good at the end of the day. But I just think with the money we're dealing at, it blows my mind with the sums of money that some people are dropping without seeing the car. It just, it blows my mind really.
You can take some really good pictures of a bad car, and it can, do you know what I mean? It can still present really, really well, and that's the danger, isn't it? People are, yes, you can take 200 pictures.
Yeah, you can still hide things, of course you can.
Yeah, either hide things or there's just people are. Yeah, I mean, I know plenty of people that aren't overly critical in person when they're stood next to a car. They don't see half of what I might see on a car or what you might see on a car. If you then take digital pictures and send them 200 pictures, well, first thing, they're probably not going to sit there and study 200 pictures. They're going to look at half a dozen of the best shiny ones that make the car look whizzy and nice and go, great, I'll bid on it. They're not actually going to study those and go, right, is there actually something more going on here? Has this car had a bump or been painted, or does it all hang together? Does it add up? Does it, all that sort of stuff? Yeah. So I think there'll definitely be some people that have bought cars on those platforms that wish they hadn't, or wish they'd at least got them checked first.
Yeah. Buy wisely, people. Yeah, exactly. Buy wisely, either way. Cool. Right. Yeah. On to our own rotters then. So, obviously, Joe, you must have come back to a flat battery, surely.
Yeah, quite literally. So for people that missed that in and amongst, obviously, I ran away for a couple of months of lockdown to somewhere a little bit warmer. And quite literally come back to a 964 stuck in my garage. So,
nice.
That'll be going on charge shortly, and hopefully we'll come back to life as planned. So that's but I mean, we're not too far away from being able to go for a bit of a drive, I think.
Just before we talk about driving, Joe, how much oil did you have on your garage floor then when you got back?
Well, a 964 is modern enough to have plastic under trays, so
it'll be under there then. It'll be under there, ready to catch fire as soon as you go around your first corner.
I'd imagine if I stuck my hand up on top of that tray, probably half a gallon. But no, I don't know. Well, again, yeah, it's only what I was told, and yes, there is some paperwork. But apparently, the engine was rebuilt a couple of years ago, so fingers crossed, it's still hanging together.
Talking about battery chargers, I just bought a magnetic connector for my battery charger because I'm forever backing out of the garage, taking half the garage with me because the battery charger is still connected to the wall. So either the socket rips off the wall or so. Yeah, I found this thing. I think it's called a MagCore. Is it MagCore? Yeah, MagCode magnetic connector. And what it means is it will just rip off a part rather than ripping the garage apart. So yeah, we recommend one of those. Just need to get it fitted up to the car.
That's such a good idea, you know.
Yeah, absolutely fantastic.
I want to get myself one of the what's the onboard trickle charger things that everyone uses? C-Tech?
C-Tech. Yeah.
They seem to be the one to go for. So
yeah,
I'm going to invest in one of those next. Be good.
What have you been doing to yours, Lee?
I've had to get a load of new parts for it, like nothing exciting, unfortunately, just like on the maintenance side of things. So coolant expansion tanks cracks, which happens.
Yeah.
So I had to get that.
Have you had that fitted yet?
No, not yet.
Because that is a pig of a job to do. Real pig. You got to drop the back half of the engine to get it out. Really.
Yeah. So there's the cars. It'll go to Right Tune because they're the business who I like trust with my car. And there's a couple of days work, and I'll probably do some filming with it, which means a hotel stay, and obviously we can't do that at the moment, so which is fine. But yeah, it needs new front.
Why don't you sleep in it?
You are sorry in the car. That's not a bad shout. Yeah, why not?
Cozy.
Not? Exactly. Can't do that in a Cayman, can you? Yeah, so what else was there? Yeah, drop links, which and again, it's just a tip for people with 996s. The TRW chassis bits, they're exactly the same as a Porsche part, and in fact, they were the Porsche part. They've even got a part number on it. But obviously, they're a lot less in cost. You don't need to pay the Porsche tax for those. So there's TRW drop links to go on. Brake lines need renewing all over the car. They're just age related. They're rotted.
They go, don't they, on the 996s?
Yeah, and 997 to be fair.
Yeah.
So that, and especially because I really want to get out on track this year.
Is that all the hard lines or just the short ends?
The lot, to be honest with you. Yeah, but I'm going to put I'm going to put braided lines on just while I'm there, I think, just to, in terms of longevity.
Yeah.
So I've got some BF Goodrich, don't know how to pronounce it, but I raided Heritage Parts Centre for that. So that's happy days. It's just all about waiting for a time when I can get them on. And a front under tray as well. I've been bowling around without a front under tray on the 996. So need to kind of put that on. But yeah, so it's not exciting stuff, but it's all stuff again that will just, make the car better.
Nice.
Cool. I did buy some parts for the 964 actually, which all came while I was away.
Yeah.
Again, it was really, really unexciting shopping list. I bought a new key because I think when you have a new car and it's got a scraggly old key, it's been around for 30 odd years, I always think that's a bit of a disappointment. So I bought myself a new key.
Nice.
Which was good. And a new fob for the alarm thing on it and all the bits you touch. What else did I buy? One of the window switches was a bit sticky, so I bought one of those. Bits and bobs. You sort of, even though a car's supposedly all ready to go, there's always little bits and bobs that you just nice to make it, get them just done so it's not annoying. So,
but things like that, like say the bits you touch, that's an everyday thing. If you've got a key that's absolutely hanging, by way of an example, you change it. I mean, a big thing like that for me would be steering wheels. Like some of them where they age really badly. Like on mine, like the color was fading and all sorts. I mean, it's something that you stare at all the time, and obviously you touch every time you get in the car. It does make a big difference.
Yeah, I think so. Worth spending the money on those bits.
Yeah, definitely. And just, like the little improvements, I think that's the cool bit. Again, same with like the brake lines and that. It's just kind of a peace of mind job, and it knows that it's a good car then, isn't it? Simple as that. But
yeah,
I'm still half thinking of changing the wheels on the 964. So if anybody hears of anything or sees anything out and about that's up for sale, let me know.
What you think? Why are you thinking of changing first of all, and what you're thinking?
Just a bit of variety, really. I think I quite like having another set. I mean, I quite like what's on it, which is the kind of Fuke inspired type of thing. But yeah, something a bit more spangly glitzy, I think, whether that's sort of polished BBS type stuff or I don't know. There was a couple of sets that have come up recently which seem to come and go very quickly before I had a chance to have a proper look, which is a shame. So just up something a bit different, I think.
Yeah,
nice. Good.
Andy, still gathering dust, is it?
Yeah, still gathering dust, but good thing is I finished a big project on the house, which was our utility room, which is at the back of the garage. So basically everything that was in the utility room was piled on top of the car. So now it's uncovered. I've got quite a few bits and bobs I need to get on with, actually.
Yeah.
Some stylation style bits come in.
Ooh, yeah, very good.
Yeah. Get those sorted and try and get some suspension stuff done as well.
Yeah, cool.
So
man.
yeah, plenty going on.
Decent. On that note, you wanted to, this is just like the admin side of things, there's a date for people to save.
Yes. Yeah, 3rd of July.
Why is that,
Saturday,
Andy? What are we doing?
3rd of July. We're doing something.
We're going to do an event of some sort, aren't we?
Yeah.
Of some sort.
Details to follow, but save Saturday the 3rd of July.
It'd be a massive Road to Redline outing for hundreds of people.
Awesome. Any new Patreons, Andy?
None this week. No,
really? Is that because we were a bit tardy with getting the Mike Wilds out? And
I think it could be. Yes. Yeah, need to get back on it. So sorry to everybody that was a little bit late.
I think for our save the date on the 3rd. There might well be some benefits to Patreons over non-Patreons.
Oh, of course.
I think for anybody that's half thinking about becoming a Patreon, now is probably a great time before we announce the final details. So we should probably throw that out there.
Good stuff.
Awesome.
Lee, you've got an announcement to make as well, haven't you?
Have I, Andy? Looks at Andy nervously in the notes here.
We're doing a competition,
yes,
Lee, aren't we?
Yes,
we are.
Yeah, of course. Yeah. Well, the reason is that the bloody thing didn't work just before we came on, but it will. So by the time you, dear listener, are listening to this at home, our competition for the Nezumi times Roof Voiture chronograph will be live. You may remember we covered this earlier on in the series. I think it was episode 2 of series 2. Where we interviewed David Campo, the horologist behind Nezumi, amazing watch brand. It's a one of 200 piece, isn't it? They're all numbered. Joe, you've got one actually, haven't you? You went ahead and pulled the trigger on one.
I'm now the proud owner of number 147. I'll have you know.
Oh, very good. Very good. Yeah, you're a fan of it, aren't you, as well? So.
Yeah, really, really nice. I mean, it's not. Yeah, I hadn't. It's not something I've been in touch with before. Hadn't owned any of their watches before, but thought, good excuse to start. So yeah, really, really impressed. I mean, from a design point of view, they really have literally designed every part of it, which is really, really cool. And the fact this is a short run, short numbered, blah blah blah. We talked about it before. I think it's a really cool thing to own, and it's actually, I think we touched on it before. It's a nice driver's watch because it's fairly lightweight compared to some of the bigger watches, which I think actually works really well.
Spot on, yeah, and that's it. So there are 200 made. 199 of them are floating around the planet as we speak, apart from one, which David has, and he's ready, waiting, and willing to give it to our competition winner. Check out our Instagram page for that, which is obviously at Road to Redline, for all the details. And we are going to announce the winner via Instagram Live, because it's the fair way to do it, isn't it? It ensures that there's we're not cheating or there's no iffy business going on. You can see us announce the winner and you can get your hands on that lovely, lovely watch. So thanks to David at Nezumi Studios for that awesome prize.
Lovely jubbly. I don't know why I'm gone Welsh all of a sudden.
You've gone Welsh, yeah, exactly that. Yeah. Well, look,
sorry,
good fun again,
people.
Chaps. Good fun, chaps. Really good to chat about Caymans, auctions, and Andy's finished utility room.
Can't wait to see that one.
Take care, chaps. Nice one.
Thank you.
Catch up soon.
See you soon.
You've been listening to Road to Redline, the #1 Porsche and Car podcast, fueled by our generous Patreons. If you'd like to join in supporting the podcast, please see patreon.com/Road to Redline and find us on Instagram.